Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Train World Facebook Live. We have a very special edition with you guys today. We have James Wright, JLWii2000. You guys know him on YouTube. Say hello, James.
How are you guys doing?
James is the rock star on YouTube that does so many great HO scale videos, and he's venturing out into new scales, and he's a true professional in the hobby and a true advocator, and very good friend, and nice guy. And then we also have Chris Palomares, brand manager from Athearn Trains. How we doing, Chris?
Doing great. I'm at home. What more can you ask for?
That's it. And today, I guess the main thing we all wanted to bring out there to the train industry is basically just a break from all the craziness going on out there. And I know people are in bad situations. In New York, it's crazy. And I'm sure elsewhere and other states have been hit hard. So we just wanted to bring something out that's a little more lighthearted in these trying times. So anyone who's not feeling well, our thoughts and prayers go out to you, and hopefully this tide will pass. But in the meantime, for everyone who's bunkering down and just ready to play with some trains, we have these two very special guests for you, and we're going to kick it off and talk about the SD60Es. And I guess we'll start with either Chris or James, whichever want to start with how good of an engine this is.
Well, I could start this off. I mean, it's in our Genesis 2.0 line. It's really the second Genesis 2.0, the first one being the SDP40F. And what classifies a Genesis 2.0 model is the extra lighting. They'll have, in this case, number boards and also ground lights. That's a new feature for a lot of our Athearn stuff. Of course, end-to-end LED. We've migrated the entire line over to LEDs in the past year and a half. So that was a big step. And also, we're doing see-through steps on the step wells, enhanced sound. These things are just the top product offering at this time. What are your thoughts on this, James? You did some videos on this.
I was kind of looking. I was looking back at the videos I did. I've done 3 product reviews just on the SD60E, and that doesn't include the time you guys came to my basement to launch it.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So there's been 4 different times that I've been able to really have hands on the locomotive and spend some time kind of evaluating it. And the locomotive has really good pulling power. I was looking over some of the specs, and usually in the product review process, I'll kind of test you guys out and say, okay, they said this, is this true? And usually the Soundtrack Tsunami 2 decoder paired with the Genesis drive makes it really smooth on slower speed steps, which, some locomotives from some manufacturers, you kind of have to either program start voltage to the CVs to change, or they just never are smooth. But your SD60Es were smooth right out of the box. Good pulling power, which is an improvement of the Athearn product over time. And speaking of the pulling power, speaking of the improvements, I should say, you've got the lighted number boards, LEDs, and all of the lights, the step lights, or not the step lights, but the truck lights on the front are lighted, and oscillating ditch lights for NS, which is correct. So just a lot of cool features on that locomotive that kind of I tested that you guys said were improvements, rubber, MU hoses and things like that, and those were all there intact and working like they should.
Well, the other thing too, you bring up ditch lights, the rear ditch lights alternately flash too, and we really pushed Soundtracks to come up with an 8-function decoder for that, and that's kind of started the ball rolling for the Genesis line migration into 8-function decoders internally. So
yeah, and I will say, so I have two of the actual engines here. I'm not sure if you could see up here, but this is the Honoring Veterans paint scheme. And along with Athearn, we're running a special sale on these at Train World, and they're really at a great price right now. And the engine, the paint scheme is just beautiful. If you don't have one in your collection, I mean, you definitely need to add it. Just a beautiful, gorgeous paint scheme. The blue is crisp, the lettering, just really nice, and the details, pulling power, and then also the boxes. I mean,
oh yeah,
look at the artwork. I mean, this is something that I don't think many people in the industry has been doing. I believe Athearn was probably one of the first to actually do this. So them kind of putting in these nice special paint scheme boxes, it kind of makes them a collection piece. And I'm not sure if you could see that there. And just really, that's the spirit of Union Pacific, just beautiful. And it just makes it feel like it's the value's there, and which it is. But just a really nice add-on for that. And James Wright also was kind enough to put together a special YouTube video of him running these SD60Es and the features and kind of everything going. So that was very, very nice for James to put together. So we appreciate that, James.
Yeah, thank you, James.
No problem. Nothing else to do. I'm just hanging out here.
Yeah, we started having to roll around with like, okay, so what are we going to look at? What are we going to do? What are our options for running? You know, so yeah.
And
I have been busy, and then finally everything just calmed down all at once. And now I'm like, what do? I have no layout.
So James, when are you going to be building your new layout?
So as long as there's no delays in the house closing process, which is just starting next week, for the house I'm selling, I should be starting a layout late this summer. I'm going to keep a module or two to still be able to do product reviews. And I'll show you guys that in a little bit, just what's set up. But overall, I'm hoping for late summer to start on another modular layout. And then about a year from then, I will transfer those modules into a large layout. I'm looking at massive areas like 40 feet by 15 feet areas in some of these houses in their basements to make a club size layout.
Wow, very nice.
You're going to need that for all those 89-foot cars you got.
Yeah, I know.
And I think it's possible, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try to share my screen with James Wright's video. And guys, if you could tell me out there, if you could see this screen, I've never tried this before, so we're going to give it a shot. I'm not sure, James, if you're peeking on your phone, if you could see your own video.
I've got my computer too. It's showing.
Yep. I see it too, Ken. It looks good.
Okay. Yeah. So this is actually James' video. And this technology is crazy. I didn't even know we could do this. So we're going live on the spot with this. And if it doesn't work out, don't blame me. But, you know, you can't hear the sounds, but James put this video together, and you could just see these engines. I mean, I truly think these SD60s are some of the nicest models on the market. And James really did a great job with the video that he allowed us to post. And like I said earlier in the video, if you don't know James' work on YouTube, just phenomenal. And that's the first responder engine, and that did very well. Beautiful as well.
Yeah, thank you again, James, for putting this together. All three Heritage units have the PTC antennas. There were some variants that didn't. We're doing the black NS locomotives too in two different ways. We have with the PTC antenna, and then also the original configuration, which had, I think, a single Sinclair and maybe a couple smaller antennas on the roof as well. So
look at that. So Chris, just talk about the lights.
Oh yeah,
as the video's running. Sorry.
Well, not only that, the lights are prototypically dimmed down too. So your number boards aren't as bright as the headlight. I mean, when do you ever see that in the prototype? Also, the ground lights, they're dimmed down too. So when you go through a tunnel or something like that, that's when you can see them come on. This is actually showing the rear alternately flashing ditch lights. That's pretty specific to the Norfolk Southern. Yeah, these things are incredibly smooth, like James was saying. The Genesis drive in there just really shines. Also, if you have the versions with sound, the Tsunami 2 has a really nice slow speed and just drive, I guess what you call algorithms now in the decoder built in, so you can really adjust it to creep. I mean, I've done it where you can change the speed table to just, you know, have that plow just barely coasting across tie by tie. So,
and that's the Go Rail engine right there.
Yeah, this is the Go Rail one. This is the latest one that just arrived. That's the last of the 3 heritage locomotives that we've delivered for the SD60.
That's underrated because that's a pretty cool engine. I mean, the honoring veterans and first responder gets a lot of the hoopla, but this is a beautiful engine too.
Well, if you want straight up 80s disco, that's your locomotive.
I think we got to put James in a disco outfit next time to sell these videos.
Yeah, we got to give him a bigger butterfly collar or something. Yeah, but these things are they're good pullers. They run well. The lighting complete all the way around, full feature decoder inside. I mean, there's not much more that you will want out of a locomotive like this.
Yeah, that's very nice. And now, James, this layout is now down?
Yeah, the layout is all in the corner. I can show you guys kind of during show and tell time, but everything's torn down. I've got one module up for reviews, and it'll stay like that for 2 more months, hopefully. And then there'll be kind of a period where I go visit family in the Midwest and kind of take a break, and then I'll run into the new area, find a house, either temporary or permanent, and start from there. But it's probably looking like it's going to be a rental at first, so I'll have to do a little modular work for a little while and kind of hone in my scenery skills.
Well, if it's okay with you, can we take a peek of what you got there?
Yep, I will pick you guys up.
Ow!
Turn you around.
Ow!
I'm getting dizzy.
So pay no attention to the ghost busting equipment, but the layout is all torn down over here, and I put these white sheets up to
make it look like ghosts, right?
Yeah, just to cover it up for people that were looking to buy. You know, they get confused. I don't know why that's going to be more scary than this, but or this giant Lego pirate ship that's a ghost ship with a bunch of skeletons. But from now on, I'm kind of recording on this module here, which used to be the front left corner of my layout, until I move. And I've got some Athearn products out here that I just picked up at a train show, including,
yeah, I like them.
Yeah, including the 4740 covered hoppers that were just re-released after a few years, which I missed out on the first run.
Mm-hmm.
Then the 20,000 gallon general service tank cars. These are Honeywell, so those were hard to find already. And then I've just got some brass stuff out here. And I'm probably going to start working on some scenery on another module just to kind of enjoy my time here at home. But yeah, this is where the layout used to be. You know, I've got a bunch of, extra carpet from the house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just
is that going to be big enough for all your trains?
Oh, the trains are gone. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So this would have been my layout if I didn't have any children.
Oh, there it
is. So
that's a true story. I slept on that couch in there.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the that basement area is like 2,000 square feet of if I had no children layout. Oops, I got to turn you guys back around here. You know, staring at boxes, but yeah, there's several reviews that I'm doing basically this evening to kind of get me through the home selling process, and then kind of take a break and process my move.
Yeah, well, it's never fun moving, so I totally empathize with you there.
Yeah,
Well,
it's not been fun.
James, if you need any heavy lifting, don't call me, call Chris.
I'm closer, right, Ken?
He's a little closer. Now, Chris, back to trains. You guys just made a huge announcement, and
yes, we did.
I think it's worth it just to bring up the Triclops.
Triclops.
Yeah, what is this thing?
It's probably one of the ugliest locomotives when it came out, but it's definitely grown on me over the years, and it's kind of representative of that 90s era where they went from late 80s, but early 90s, late 80s, where they went from the standard cab where it had like the 4 different windows, you know, on the side door, to kind of what they called the North American safety cab, where it had this really funny shape. It was kind of inspired by some Canadian built cabs where they had like a wide nose. The crew entered in through the front of the nose, and, you know, they had desktop controls and stuff like that.
Think we
early 90s. That's when the SD60. Oh, can you see me now?
Yeah, you were cutting out a little.
Oh, okay. Let me just back up a little bit. So starting in the late 80s, early 90s, some of these cabs came, or some of these building practices came from the Canadian designs implemented into new North American locomotives. The SD60 was pretty much the latest and greatest locomotive of the time. So they started doing this safety cab design where it had the wide nose and the crew would enter through the front of the nose. And some of them had desktop controls early on. This was the first iteration of that cab design where it had kind of like 3 sort of trapezoidal type windows and 1 square one right in the middle. And that square window looked like kind of a third eye, you know. So that's where the term the Triclops came from. You know, that was total rail fan jargon for, you know, what this kind of locomotive kind of looked like. It was definitely a little bit more funky than, you know, what people were used to. And the cab has since been redesigned. It went to a 2-piece window. We have that model as well. But one of the major things that our customers really hit us up for, that they really appreciated the 2-window cab version of it, but they kept going, well, what about the 3-window? And that's the Triclops. So we're excited to have it out. It's been a long time coming, but it's worth the wait because it's in the Genesis 2.0 line. We didn't have a Genesis 2.0 line until very, very recently. So you're getting a little bit further than what people were asking for. People were just asking for it in Genesis. So we upped the ante on it. We're delivering in Genesis 2.0. First time with spinning roller bearing cabs, see-through steps on the step wells. You can get into the cab really easy and make it a leader, put a crew in it. You know, all these things are just something that we really wanted to deliver upon. Not only a beautiful looking model, but something that runs well, pulls well, and just, you know, it's an end-to-end solution for everybody's, you know, late 80s, 90s era, even modern train. So we have announced that over at the Rocky Mountain Train Show. I think that's coming up a week and a half ago. Is that about right, James?
Yep, it was a week and a half ago, weekend before last.
Yeah, okay. It's all a blur. I've been doing a lot of traveling, so pardon me on that. It just feels like yesterday I was actually at Train World hanging out with the can. So
not too far along.
But no, we're excited to deliver this locomotive.
You did get some requests for a Sioux line Triclops in the second run, just to let you know, and a lot of positive comments, and we appreciate those. People want to see some DD48, DDA 40s X's in the future, and also some AC 4400s and SD Max 70 Max rebuilds. So lot of models that everybody wants to see. But thank you guys very much. We appreciate it. And all your Athearn trains you could get at TrainWorld.com. We hope today provided you a little bit of lighthearted material and some insights into Athearn trains and some SD60Es and SD60Ms, the Triclops. And thank you guys very much for watching. And thank you, James. Thank you, Chris.